It's very easy to think that every single successful person had some sort of an unfair advantage, whether this be a wealthy father, wealthy friends, or they just happened to be in the right place at the right time. But under the surface of Elon Musk's success lies something much more profound. You see, Elon Musk actually had none of that. In fact, him and his brother had to bankroll his father because his dad was in so much debt when he was younger. And Elon Musk was pretty much bullied and beaten to a pulp every single day at school. Now he's the richest person in the world. How? I honestly believe Elon Musk is one of the greatest reality creators of our time. See, what Elon Musk knows is something that I honestly believe should be available to every single one of us. And now's the best time for you to learn how he was able to create his reality and become the richest person in the world. See, right now, there are dark forces at play all around us. The world is changing faster than ever before. And if you don't learn how to become a conscious creator of your reality now, then you will forever get sucked into a puppet for the rest of your life. And these dark forces are actually fighting to suck one thing. It's your attention. Your attention is their wealth. Once they have your attention, they turn you into their puppet. Please don't be a puppet. Become the puppet master, just like Elon did. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you the 3 laws of reality creation that Elon Musk followed that actually led him to where he is today. But before I get to the 3 laws, you must first understand the fundamental principle these dark forces operate from so that you can actually gain true freedom from them. This is the beginning of the reality creator revolution, and I'm super excited to share this with you, so let's go right ahead and get started. Okay, so how these dark forces work is they have 2 main operating principles. These dark forces are called pendulums. If you look around you, there are pendulums everywhere. And why the pendulum is such a fitting name for it is because you have to understand how a pendulum operates. It oscillates, but energy is required to keep it oscillating. And what these pendulums do and how they're formed is they're just spontaneously formed. When a group of people who have a like-minded energy or frequency or vibration, whatever you want to call it, they come together, they spontaneously form a pendulum. When these pendulums form, they can do 2 things. They can be a constructive pendulum. They can take your energy and deliver you to a goal. Think business groups, think masterminds. When you join a mastermind, you're joining a pendulum, a collective energy. It's taking your energy, your attention, but it's delivering you to a goal. But then there are destructive pendulums, gossip groups, groups that don't really get you closer to your goal, but it makes you feel like you're part of something much bigger, like mobs, like gangs, right? Those are all pendulums. So there are pendulums all around us. It is impossible to be completely free of pendulums. What we want to do is choose the ones that we want to be part of. And what we want to do is know how to free ourselves from destructive pendulums, okay? So now let's get to the 2 main operating principles of pendulums so you understand how these dark forces work and why they're holding you by your heels, okay? So operating principle number 1, how pendulum work is there cannot be a pendulum if you do not become an adherent to it, if you do not feed it. So the main operating principle of the pendulum is do as I do. Do you remember being in school and there's kids that are all going and putting on a certain fashion trend, they're wearing a certain kind of outfit, they're putting on a certain kind of earring or whatever it is. And then everyone starts to copy. Someone sets the trend, builds the pendulum, and everyone else starts to follow. Why do they start to follow? Because they don't want to be left behind. That is also one of our biological desires. We don't want to be isolated from the tribe, so we try our best to fit in. And that is what societal conditioning has been doing to mankind for centuries. We have been succumbing to these pendulums, and when we succumb to a pendulum, we immediately sacrifice our own unique way, which, by the way, Elon Musk has mastered. He didn't give a shit about that because he got bullied when he was a kid, right? So he understands how these pendulums work. So when you do as I do and you copy other people, you look at social media, you look at the influencers, you're immediately becoming like the sheep. You are looking at what other people are doing and you're trying to copy them. When you try to copy someone, you're no longer walking your own unique path. But ask yourself this, when you look at these influencers, do you think they're copying someone else? They're walking their own path. When someone gains freedom from these pendulums and learns to walk their own path, the pendulums have no choice but to make it the star. And when you become the star, you form your own pendulum and other people start to follow you. Do you understand how this works? Cool. So that's principle number one, do as I do. Principle number two is the pendulum will always try its best to stabilize its structure. Essentially what this means is if you look at an ant army or a school of fish, if you interrupt one person in there, one ant in there, it'll automatically try its best to stabilize the structure. It'll completely rearrange itself so that the pendulum forms again. So similarly with certain groups, when one person tries to break free, like crabs in a bucket, other people will try to pull them back. That's why you'll be met with lots of challenges when you try to walk your own path. Have you noticed this? When you try to quit a job, everyone around you will tell you that, oh, you shouldn't do this, this is bad, stay in here, stay in the socially conditioned setting. When you try to do something in public that it doesn't quite fit the norm, everyone looks at you like you're weird and you kind of get in your head. But deep down, they're wishing that they could do that. They're the sheep, but they try to pull you back because they have no choice. They're stuck. They're stuck in the pendulum's grasp, okay? They're being controlled. So if you realize this, you too can take one step closer to becoming the creator of your own reality. Okay, so now let's get to those three principles that Elon Musk uses to become a reality creator, to become the richest person in the world. So let's begin with law number one. And this is what Elon Musk has said directly himself. So I'm going to begin with a quote. And this has to do with our reasoning process. This mental model Elon Musk uses very, very effectively. So here's a quote that Elon has said himself. I do think there is a good framework for thinking. It is physics, the sort of first principles reasoning. What I mean by that is boil things down to their fundamental truths and reason up from there as opposed to reasoning by analogy. Though most of our life we get through it by reasoning through analogy, which essentially means copying what other people do with slight variations. And you have to do that, otherwise mentally you wouldn't be able to get through the day. But when you want to do something new, you have to apply the physics approach. Physics has really figured out how to discover new things that are counterintuitive, like quantum mechanics. So I think that's an important thing to do. And then also really pay attention to negative feedback and solicit it, particularly from friends. This may sound like simple advice, but hardly anyone does that, and it's so incredibly helpful. Do you understand the implication of this? What Elon Musk is saying is literally what's helped him break free from the pendulum conditioning, from these dark forces. And how he does that is by learning first how to think for himself, which is something that literally nobody now knows how to do. With the rise of Instagram, social media, looking around you, looking outside instead of looking within and finding internal technology. So to give an example, look at this recent debacle with FTX and crypto, right? The downfall of FTX, so many people lost their hard-earned money that they put into all of these exchanges and it just completely shut down and they can't get access to hundreds of thousands of dollars, their whole life savings. If you look around you, like this has made a huge, huge impact to so many people's lives. And they fell into this trap because they listened to their friends, they looked online, they were like, oh my God, crypto is such a great opportunity. And like sheep, everyone followed and put their money in there thinking that they would get some great returns instead of reasoning through first principles and breaking it down. So everyone in this decision that fell for this trap, and I myself included had some money in that exchange, but only 5% of my wealth. But they fell for this because they started to reason like sheep via analogy. What we should have done is reason through first principles. So now what I want to do is explain to you, help you understand how to reason through first principles and avoid reasoning through analogy. And this is done in 3 steps. In every single case, we have a premise, an argument, and a conclusion. Let's look at what reasoning through first principles looks like versus reasoning via analogy. So let's take the instance of the premise of online businesses are a scam. If we were to reason via analogy, we begin with the same premise of online businesses are a scam. And the argument when you're reasoning via analogy is, hey, my friend Bob said online businesses are a scam. I've seen many people fail with online businesses and spend their hard-earned money. Therefore, the conclusion is online businesses are a scam. There is no thought, no time taken to break things down to their fundamental truths, and you just jump to a conclusion because of hearsay. Now, in the other instance, first principles reasoning, which is what Elon Musk uses, let's begin with the same premise. Online businesses are a scam. The argument here would be, okay, people say online businesses are a scam, but let's really unpack online businesses. Online businesses are businesses. Businesses provide value. And if an online business were to provide value, successful businesses become successful because they provide more value than they charge. Therefore, if an online business could provide more value than they charge, it would be a successful online business. So the conclusion is, not all online businesses are necessarily scams. Sure, there are some, but not all of them are. Only the ones that don't provide value are. Do you see what I'm doing here? I'm breaking things down to their fundamental truths. So the key to first principles thinking that you've got to take away is always question every single premise you're given. Every single claim everyone makes. Question it and boil it down to its fundamental truths. Don't just accept it like blind sheep and reason via analogy. If you can simply do this, if you can simply take some time to think for yourself, instead of letting someone else think for you, instead of letting your college professors think for you, instead of letting your employers think for you, think for yourself. And how society keeps us from thinking for ourselves. It gets us sleep deprived, it feeds us shitty food with no nutrients in there. Then our brains don't work properly. That's what they do in the military. They intentionally sleep deprive you so they can program you. When you're sleep deprived, you can't think for yourself. You can't use your brain. You're always brain dead like a zombie. So don't fall for that trap. Learn to think for yourself and reason via first principles. That's how you become a reality creator. Law number 2 that Elon Musk follows religiously, the 80-20 rule. You might have heard of this, but this is basically Pareto's principle, which describes the phenomenon that 20% of the work that we put in is actually producing 80% of the results. And Pareto did this study in rural areas where he looked at farmlands, and he saw that 80% of land was owned by 20% of the wealthy there. Okay, and by that he started to be able to transfer that law to other areas of life as well. Other people started to see similarities of this law in every single other areas of life. And in business especially, we can see that 80% of the results that we see in a business is actually produced by 20% of the work, 20% of the inputs, okay? And Elon Musk is a master at realizing this and eliminates distractions ruthlessly. He doesn't believe in working hard and doing everything for the sake of doing it. He only does a select few things, even though it's hard to believe. And he has one framework in mind. He only has one Polaris star that he uses to make all of his decisions. And this is simply, will this decision help me get one step closer to building a sustainable economy in Mars? You know, when he got SpaceX, when he built Tesla, you know, all of this solar stuff, all of the Starlink even. All of these decisions are made with Mars in mind. If he can build electric cars, sustainable solar-powered homes, and you know, have Starlink internet in space without needing any sort of local equipment, then Mars becomes a sustainable colony, right? And so every single decision is made with that 80-20 in mind. Will this get me one step closer to Mars? If not, ruthlessly eliminate it, okay? And the key for you to be able to use this 80-20 law, and how I've been using it in my personal life, is finding your Polaris star. What do I mean by that? In our company, in realitycreator.com, our mission is to help every single human being on earth to master their destinies. So I always ask myself, if I'm making this video, will it get me one step closer to helping every single human being on earth to master their destiny? If I'm making this product, if I'm making whatever decision to make an ad or whatever decision in my business, will it get me one step closer to accomplishing my mission? You have to find out what that mission is for either your company or your life, so that you can have a simple metric to gauge all of your decisions and see what that 20% is that produces 80% of the results. The biggest enemy at this stage is distractions. People wonder why they get sucked into shiny objects. It's because you're not clear on your goal. You're not clear on your mission. Elon Musk is extremely clear on what his mission is, and he's been clear on it since he was 14 years old. Okay, so now let's get to law number 3 that I believe Elon Musk is very, very adept at using for himself. And this is the mirror principle. The mirror principle is one of the deepest laws via which reality operates. And the fundamental essence of the mirror principle is the following. The mirror principle states that every single thing that we're seeing outside right now is a reflection of our own internal attitudes. We create an image with our attitude that is reflected by the mirror. And this present moment that is around you right now, all the material around you, is simply a reflection of past attitudes and the past image. Okay, so now you might be wondering, how does Elon Musk use this? Elon Musk uses this through the form of feedback loops. We discussed this in the first quote that I shared with you. So if you look at Elon Musk, he's always looking for criticism. He's always looking for what to improve. And he's very, very positive about criticism, and he receives it well. Most people, when they receive criticism, they get offended, they take it personally. But Elon, for all of his products, he wants to know what's wrong with it so that he can make it better. Do you see the difference in attitude? When he says, hey, what is something that I can make better about this product? Then the mirror of reality reflects, hey, he believes he can make things better. Here's more things to make better. And here's how things do get better for him. Do you see what's happening here? So his optimistic attitude is getting reflected by the mirror. The mirror reflects our own attitudes. Okay? So whatever your attitude is, reality will reflect just that. And the key word is attitude. So to give you an example of this, back in 2017, Tesla was literally about to go bankrupt. It was the most shorted stock. Nobody believed in it. And there was a meeting in which Charlie Munger with Elon Musk, was saying, hey, what are you doing? Here are all the reasons that your company will go bankrupt. And Elon was like, yeah, all of those reasons are actually true, but I'm still going to give it my all because I believe that there is still a way, because why not, right? And that was his attitude. And that's exactly what got reflected. Now Tesla is one of the most valuable companies on this planet. And he's one of the richest people in the world. And every single adversity that Elon Musk has faced, he's come across it because of this optimistic attitude that he's had. And reality, time and time again, has reflected this attitude that he's lived with every single day. You cannot find an instance of where Elon is pessimistic. He's always forward-thinking, forward-looking. Oh, SpaceX is about to go bankrupt. They're on their last spacecraft. Let's give it our all. This is going to work. Every single time. Most people look at what they don't have and what they don't want. They find one little thing to pick at when everything is going well, and they keep sticking with it. Oh, but this bill keeps coming up, and I keep staying stuck with this in my golf game, and I keep staying stuck with this in my business. Oh, I can't leave my job because of this. And they keep focusing on that tiny little thing. Instead, what Elon does is looks at one little reason why he can be successful, one little reason why this can work, and he just amplifies that, and it drowns out the millions of reasons why Tesla could have failed. This is what you must master to become a reality creator just like Elon, okay? So the key for you is to turn away from the reflection and face the image, okay? Turn away from the external world and face the image. So now let's get to the mirror cycle, which explains this, okay? So please stick around to the very end. What most people do is they observe their current reality. They look outside the reflection and they look at the one bad thing that's going on. Oh, I don't like this bill that keeps coming up, or this revenue level that I'm stuck at in my business. Then they use that to form their attitude. I don't like this. A million things could be going well. They're healthy, they have a great relationship with their spouse, their family's healthy, everything's going well. They look at the one bad thing. And I remember this in my personal journey. I set a goal to hit 20K a month in my business. And for a whole year, I strived to hit that 20K a month. And when I did finally hit that revenue level, I looked at the 3 clients that I didn't get. Oh, but if I got these 3 clients, I would have been at 30K a month. And then, everything started to go downhill for me, right? I started to realize what was going on, the insanity of it. And so I had to quickly change my attitude. So when you form this image, reality, the mirror of reality, immediately begins to reflect it, okay? And then we use the reflection to observe again. So when we say, oh, but I didn't get this. Oh, you didn't? Well, here's more instances of where you didn't get this, and it gives you more things to observe. Instead, Elon looks consciously at the one thing that is working and confirms that. Oh, but this is working and that is working. Okay, there's a lot of uncertainties in here, but what do I know? What could work? And uses that to consciously form the attitude that he's choosing. And I'm sure he doesn't know what the mirror principle is, and he doesn't do this consciously, but deep down, he knows how to use his own psychology to focus on positives. Otherwise, he wouldn't be here today. Okay, so this reiterates the point. And the point is that you've got to take away this one key. Whenever things around you are going awry, stop looking at the reflection. It's time for you to turn within and look at what is going well. What am I grateful for? What do I know? What do I want? Instead of what I don't know, what I don't want, what's going wrong, flip the script, okay? And I want to share with you one quote by Viktor Frankl. And this guy was stuck in a Nazi prison camp and, everything was taken from him, but this one thing. And this is what he says. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing. The last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. And with this attitude, he made it through those tough times, right? And this is completely true. Every single day, we're looking outside at what results we're getting. Did this happen today? Oh no, this didn't happen today, so therefore this was a bad day. No, it wasn't. Your definition for a good or a bad day should be, did I stick with my attitude? Was I positive despite what was happening around me? Did I allow myself to feel even the negative feelings? Even the allowance of negative feelings to exist is a positive experience, right? So that's what I want you to take away from this. So now what I want you to do is click right here and watch this video on the mirror principle. This was a little brief in what the mirror principle was, but this video right here goes in depth. Without this, you won't fully understand what the mirror principle is and the 4 different laws via which the mirror operates. So click on this right now and I will see you in this next video right now. Thanks.